Hello, I'm Anke. I'm the founder of Qmilk, and it's a very big honor for us to be here today because it's the first time, it's a premiere, that we finally can present a collection with a partner, which is Vaude. And we are very happy for this because we have been working on it for 7 years. It's a great pleasure that we finally can show you some products, and a lot of people I know have been asking for this for quite a long time. And I would like to tell you a little bit more about our fiber. And I hope you will see milk today in a little bit of a different light than making yogurt or cheese or other milk products from it today. So we are actually the company which is known worldwide to use non-food milk as technical products. So, and in the first place, we create a textile fiber from it, but it's also a bioplastic. So we are also working on injection molding and other things. So, but today we are here to present the fashion. And maybe some of you know a little bit about my history because when I was 27, I started out with a mixer and a stove in the kitchen to develop a textile fiber, which is probably the most difficult thing I know today that you can ever create because it's very, very complex, but we did it. When we started off, no experts believed in it, and that's why we went a very unusual way. And we wanted to create a textile fiber that is as natural that you basically can eat it. So we wanted to use 100% natural ingredients, and we wanted to have a sustainable process. And that's why we had an idea, and we made trials. And we were successfully implementing now a production facility. But after we got that one running, we also had to go the steps through the supply chain. And now we finally ended up having the first products on the market. Actually, we didn't invent the idea of creating textile fibers made from milk because it's actually as known as human mankind. So it's the first bioplastic ever invented. And in the 1930s, you can see that there were already milk fibers invented also. It was actually a German invention. But they needed a lot of chemicals and formaldehyde to get it stable. And when I first heard milk fibers, it was so crazy and unusual. How can you create textile fibers made from milk? And then I found out that they needed so many chemicals that I wanted to do it better. And that's how we started off with the mixer, and we created so many recipes that we could use really 100% natural ingredients. And we also created a sustainable process that only takes up to 5 minutes. We use a maximum of 2 liters of water. We have 0 waste, and we also have a low temperature. This is why the fiber is actually the fiber with the lowest CO2 emission worldwide. So, next to sustainability, the fiber has also some very interesting features. It's antibacterial as silver. So it's antibacterial against E. coli and Staphylococcus aureus, which is one of the main bacteria stems in hospitals. And even lots of chemicals don't work against it, but our fiber does. So, and it is also flame retardant, and it's temperature regulating. So it's actually very similar like a wool from the performance, but it is like a silk from the touch. And we belong to the protein fibers, and that's why we have a lot in common with wool. So we have the same temperature regulating aspect that we keep the warmth, but we also have a cooling aspect. So when you touch the fiber, it's cooling in the first place. Next to this, we have a very nice color brightness because it keeps the color, and shines very brightfully. Maybe you have also heard about milk paints. Actually, that's the same basis because it keeps the color, and it's a very extraordinary color brilliance you have never seen before. And you can dye it at very low temperature, which also brings a sustainability after we created the fiber through the whole supply chain. We also have no finishings on it because we have no electrostatic charge, and it also has a light density, and we also have a chemical resistance against acids, any foods and oils, so it's also a very high chemical resistance. So here you can see the fiber under the microscope, and that's why you see a lot of people feel wool as scratchy, because it has such flakes on the surface, and we have a very smooth fiber. As I mentioned, we belong to the protein fibers like wool, like silk, because we use the protein from the milk to create it. So we are basically the symbiosis of wool and silk. And many people see us in, clothing, like underwear, or a pullover, a t-shirt, sportswear, but we are also a fiber with technical features. So you can also bring us in paper, where we can make paper, for example, waterproof, and tissues. So also the medical applications or automobile, a lot of things are possible, actually. So in cars, you could use it for the interior, for filter, even for tires, So textiles, you don't even see nowadays where textiles are used, because it's so common and usual for us. Then in bedding, imagine you sleep in a bed that's light, that's temperature regulating, that's antibacterial, we absorb water very easily, so we lose half a liter of water every night when we sleep, and when it's great when your bed absorbs this moisture. So then one of the biggest innovations, actually, that we are the first thermobonding fiber that's compostable and 100% natural. Now, there are many materials that are combined, for example, with the hemp, but usually you needed a polyester to make it strong and stiff and to basically bind it together. But with Qmilk, you can do it in a 100% natural way, and then it's still compostable, which is a very unique feature. But our fiber doesn't melt by heat, it only melts by pressure and heat, and this also brings a great new flame retardancy to those new materials. And then, of course, in clothing, it's breathable, it absorbs water, it's antibacterial, it's light, it's temperature regulating. So that's why we perfectly fit to the sports industry. And one of the applications we have here now is our application in felt, and there we are in a combination of wool, but when you add the Qmilk to it, then it gets soft, it loses its pilling effect, the felt gets stiffer, so we also bring new applications and properties to old ways and old materials, so you can highlighting them with it. And one of the most important points is that we use non-food milk. So it's very important for us that we don't take anything from the food industry. What hardly anybody knows is that 2 million tons are disposed every year in Germany alone. And it's a worldwide problem. This milk actually is happening in 3 steps. So at the farmer, you have cholesterol milk, for example, which is not allowed in Europe to be used as food, and this is why you cannot deliver it to the dairies. But also the dairies, they have failed productions. They call us, I have several hundreds of pallets, so we have to dispose them. And also in the grocery stores, you have to think about it. The foods that are out of date cannot be used anymore, so you cannot even donate them. So that's why they go to waste. And we give a totally new point on using them, and we say rather, upcycle it before you waste it. And as I mentioned, since we take it from a non-food stream and we upcycle it in a very sustainable process, we are actually the fiber with the lowest CO2 emission worldwide. And you can recycle it in many ways. So the easiest one is that we are actually compostable in about 6 weeks, but you also can recycle it and create new materials from it. As I said, you can bring it into injection molding. It also gives a high energy performance when you burn it, but the most official one, of course, is reusing it, and then after you cannot reuse it anymore, then compost it. And this shows you a table where you can see that we are actually compostable and home compost in 6 weeks. which is quite fast, but don't worry. You can still wash your t-shirt and everything by 60 degrees. Nothing will happen. It's like your wool pullover, which you have over many years in your closet, and then when you bury it, then it would also degrade. So, well, thank you so much for your attention.